The obstacle to reproducing that sound is space, which acoustics professor Trevor is all too aware of.
You don't get the true sound of the orchestra because the living room you've got to put the sound through is nothing like the concert hall. And you can't take the living room out of the equation. If you're going to sit down, the sound's got to go for that room. It's going to bounce off the walls. You're going to hear the effects of the reflections. So you've got an augmentation of the sound which would never happen in a real concert hall. So it'll always sound a bit different to the real space. Now you can get rid of those reflections by putting absorbent on them. So that could be thick curtaining. It could be that that's where your sofa is. Or you can scatter the sound. So what you can do is put stuff which will make the sound go off in all sorts of directions. That's bumpy material. So that can be specialist shaped material, but it could be things like bookcases. And that will help make the room appear a bit bigger. Because what happens in your living room's a bit small, and these reflections arrive early. If you absorb them or get them to bounce off in different directions so they arrive later, then it appears you've got a slightly bigger room and it'll sound better.
Before you start moving the furniture, there's more tech on the way. BBC R&D are also searching for the perfect reproduction. They think it's worth going back in time in search of the sound of the future. One idea that's been around since the 70s is a wave-field synthesis system. A circle of 128 ear-height speakers creates a surprisingly realistic surround sound blanket, in this case, a cafe. It time delays the signals coming out of each speaker so listeners inside feel they can point directly at a source. It laughs in the face of mere stereo.
Well, stereo at home is very simply, it relies on just changing the amplitudes a lot to create this feeling that something's moving in a sound field. Stereo also depends on this idea of a sweet spot, where if you're sat in between the speakers you experience it best, and if you're to one side you don't. Whereas here we've got a very large sweet spot in the sense we've got a space, so lots of people can experience a faithful rendition of the sound field at the same time.
Currently, a ready-made high-end system could set you back around £200,000. But this kit only costs a tenth of that and is running on a household PC, a step closer to